the challenge that when I've talked to recruiters about this before, about where Twitter is a problem, is kind of like, who do you talk to? What do you say to people? And I'm kind of always like, well, hold on, you're a recruiter. I mean, seriously, we don't have too much trouble talking, do we, on the whole, recruiters? So, and if somebody is putting content out there that's one of your potential clients or one of your potential candidates or somebody with the industry, there's some nice etiquette things to do in Twitter that kind of help the way with regard to building relationships, and that's kind of what a lot of the social media stuff is about. It's about taking a recruiter with a name and a potential client with a name and finding a way to kind of sit together and do the same kind of stuff as them. So there's little things like retweeting. When somebody who's a potential client of yours tweets something that's of interest, maybe about the industry, maybe about something that's funny, maybe it's a funny link. A lot of people just are doing funny cornflake videos, whatever else it might be. Retweet it, which is a method where you just basically take their tweet, retweet it, and it goes onto your stream, which means from their perspective, it went to their 200 people that they were following them originally, but now your 100 and 150 people are also seeing that tweet as well. So the client thinks, oh, that's nice of them, that's quite nice, that is, they've just retweeted my information. So now I've got more people looking at my video, or particularly if it's something relating to their company, something about maybe a new news item, an award they've won. So help this kind of theory of kind of scratching a client's back a little bit, or scratching people in the industry's back a little bit to give them a little bit of a lift in order they might see you in a better light, is just good behaviour, basically. It's just good business behaviour more than anything else. So it's just applying it into a social media communications environment. So there's a lot of retweeting that's done. And also, if people are starting conversations in Twitter, talk to them. Simple as that. Respond. Everybody write. I mean, if anybody here writes anything on LinkedIn in a group, or writes anything on Facebook, or wherever else, let's be honest, we're dying for somebody to respond to us, or like what we say, or whatever. Because surely none of us are doing it just to shout down a channel and not be heard. Otherwise we wouldn't bother. Hence, we give up, because if there is no following, then we just kind of walk away and think, forget it. So we're all looking for a response. Well, that's the same with everybody else that uses Twitter, apart from plenty of celebrities and things who you'll never get a contact back from, but that's a different world entirely. But your business, your clients, your potential candidates, your potential business collaborators are looking for somebody to go, yeah, and just start a conversation with you. And even if they didn't follow you, they're almost guaranteed they'll follow you back now, because you bothered to communicate with them. And secondly, you start to build a new level of communications. Now, it's not a level of communications, and if the mentality of your type of recruitment or the type of business that you operate or whatever is everything has to be measured in client contacts and sales calls and blah, blah, blah. So social media can't fit into that kind of cycle. It's because the kind of calls you make, the kind of communications lines you're making are not about what vacancies you've got at the moment, and they're not about when you're next likely to be hiring, and they're not about when you're available for a meeting in the next week or so. All those things are not part of social media communications. But I tell you what you can do. You build, and it can sometimes take just a couple of weeks of familiarity within with the potential client. Drop them a DM. Are you around for a coffee today? Take the level of the communication that you, because already the starting point is quite social, as it were, rather than being very business talk, very kind of like, BNI meeting, shared business cards, all that kind of stuff. Because it starts at a very social kind of level. To jump from a very social level to a very formal meeting about their PSL and whether they should be changing their PSL and why we're better for it, skip the formal bit and skip to the bit lower than that. Skip to the coffee. I don't know, people have got business. Are people business owners in this room, or are they recruiters? Yeah, because I'm desperately hoping that business owners in the room would be very, very happy with their consultants nipping out for a coffee to see a potential client. It's not a meeting, it's not a regular kind of corporate sales visit type of thing, but it's a connection. It's an opportunity to break the barrier between the dreaded phone call and the difficult to get meeting. It's the bit in the middle, and that bit in the middle is where you get the meeting a heck of a lot better than where you were there. It's the ladder along the way. So Twitter just creates that kind of little, I regard it as a little bit of a stepping stone. It's not a sales tool, it's a lead generator.